Hi, welcome to a shot walkthrough. The animation that you're seeing right now was actually done on a live stream, and I'll put a card to it up here so you can check out the full thing if you want to. So it's been about a week now, and I've come back to this shot ready to sort of add details into the character that throws the podium and maybe get some lining done. And I'm not liking it anymore. I want the explosion to be a bit more jagged in the beginning, and then I want the clouds to go up. The smoke will then trail along this edge of the screen in a loop. So let's get started. Now, when I animate something, especially on a project that I've set myself, I know exactly what I want. However, it's always a good idea to make tests if you're unsure about the direction you're going in. As I'd planned before, I made the initial explosion spikier, the clouds went up to the top of the screen, and then added in some extra frames to smooth out the transition from clouds to a softer rolling smoke. And I didn't like that either. Luckily, I'd given myself enough time to adjust it and move on to making different tests to see if I liked something else better. I used a loop of circles to help me track the waves in the smoke, but I didn't include enough variation in size, the placement was very even, and it didn't have the effect I wanted. I then tried larger circles either side of a guideline with different timing and adjusted several frames with the perspective tool. Though this was closer to what I wanted, it still wasn't right. Adding in coloured details made it look too busy, so I switched back to a flat colour style I tried before in other projects. By this point I was on version 5, and so this time I created a loop of different blobs and circles, focusing on one at a time. I made sure there was variation in shape and size to make it more interesting. I like this one a lot more, and on a new layer above used the shapes to help create an outline. I finally decided this was the style and movement I wanted, so I applied everything I'd learned previously into this new test. I started out with a point at the bottom of the canvas so I knew where the effect would start, and built up the shapes from there, adding in a few bits that separated from the main trail. I then outlined the smoke using the shapes as my guide, and used the keyframer effect in TVPaint to scale it up and move it to the corner of the screen. I filled it in using the bucket tool and added in a few extra drawings to make sure it was nice and smooth. On a new layer, I made a few arcs to show their path and sketched out a few rocks of varying sizes using the transform tool to move the drawing along the arc. You'll notice that each frame degrades in quality as I use the transform tool. If I wanted to preserve the crisp lines of the sketch, I'd copy the original drawing across several frames instead. As this is not the final, and only the sketch, it doesn't really matter. I kept each rock on their own layer so I could adjust their position on the timeline, staggering the entries so it looked more natural. These were coloured in grayscale and lined with my regular dark purple brush I'd used previously to keep things consistent. The placement of the debris would be beneath the coloured texture layers, so they would match the background I designed earlier. To keep the rocks and the line quality sharp, I made sure to copy and paste the frames to match the rough animation layer, and then use the transform tool to position them. For the sparks, I made a new layer positioned above the smoke and animated small circles that shrank as they rose. I used the glow effect and a warm yellow to soften the edges at a height and width of 35, applying the effect to the current layer, all instances, and heads. Finally, it was time to add a little bit of smoke to trail after the debris. On a layer beneath each piece, I used the same dark purple as before, animating straight ahead and flipping through the frames to see how everything looked. I set each smoke layer to 60% opacity, arranged the debris layers beneath the background textures, and this is the final result. Though I could have stuck with the first version, testing is important for problem solving, and I ended up with something that I liked a lot more. Effects are something I want to get better at, so I've uploaded some of my tests as PNG sequences that you can download from my Gumroad. Import them into whatever animation or editing program you use and go through them yourself. The links to everything are in the description. As always, I hope you found this helpful. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more animations and tutorials from me, and I'll be back with another video real soon. Bye!